Hey folks, welcome back for another battle report, and it's the second game of the Kirton game tournament. This time I'm up against the Dwarves again, but this time of the Gil-gillad, not the Iron Hills variety. As you can see here, my opponent has got plenty of Vault Wardens. I have played this list before. It's an opponent of my local club, so I do know it pretty well. And even though these guys are defense 9 at the front, I do have the appropriate tin opener, which is a Lendl. He's also using Dane as well, leading his force. And to the middle of the table, he has a large contingent of Iron Guard. These guys come in at defense 6 with 2 attacks each and throwing weapons. And he's also got the King's Champion as well as the 2 Heralds. And like you see, you've got 1 Herald off to the side, ready to dart round to become the banner for the other warband. Finally, on the far left-hand side, he has a Dwarf Ballista. And here's the overall look, and the scenario we're doing is the other objective-based scenario, wherein you need to keep someone next to the objective to keep it as yours at the end of the game, so you have to have someone standing there. As you see, there's one objective down in the mountains area, which has a Númenórean standing next to it. There's one in the trees on the left-hand side, which have an elf next to. In the middle of the board, there is one for the dwarves. There's one behind the dwarf Vault Warden line, and there's another objective just in the firing line between my elves and the Dwarf Ballista. So we move up into position. I managed to get an early charge off with my guys at the top there. This is, I think it's probably the second move or so. And Elendil's gone in. As I say, he's got strength 5 and a massed forge 2-handed weapon. So he's wounding these things on 5s, obviously knocking them down. So, you know, I have 4 chances on each to kill them. It's quite useful for him to be able to take out these Vault Warden teams so my infantry can come in. And of course then I also got my free heroic as well, so you can dart back out where it needs to be. In the middle of the table, you see I've moved up here to engage the one flank. I thought there's no point in me standing back to fire, because all those throwing axes can do just as much harm to me as I am to them. Well, actually they're more likely because I'm on defense 5. Meaning he's running me on damaging or killing me on 5s. I'm killing him on 6s. Even with that, my elves managed to get their shots off and take out one of his Iron Guard there. So as you can see on the top side there, Lendl went in, killed the 2 Vault Wardens and the shield bearers for them, and then pulled back again, ready to charge again next turn without having to worry about any kind of counter charges. And in the centre there, things, you know, hit and miss. I lost 2 guys and managed to kill off 1. I think Lendl is just coming up. He's not in the fight yet, so at the moment he's got the character advantage. And if I use him to take out the standard, that would be great, because obviously I would get my might back due to blood and glory, which allows me to gain a might back every time I kill a hero or monster. So if I can throw him against the banners, that would be great, and then I can take on that King's Champion. Unfortunately down here the fights aren't going too well my way. I have lost a couple more elves there on the front line. The 2 attacks of the dwarves really helping, even though I've got the higher fight and the banner there helping me. He also has a banner too. But Gil-gillad does his job and kills off 1. And I think that one on the left hand side there is from some shooting. Back to the Númenórean flank. Elendil goes in and kills 1 guy. Oh, I think I was charged on this one. That's why. He's probably killed 2 until got another charge in. Down to 1 Vault Warden shield, I think. So he's done alright. My actual Númenóreans managed to kill off the other one. And you see I've just lost a couple of Númenóreans there. One in behind is just a token that should be up front. Dane called heroic and went through 2 of my Númenóreans, which is all fine and dandy. I think with Lendl here I should hold this flank quite well. So on the following turn I go in again, try and take as many on as I can with the Lendl. I reckon I can kill 2, move up and probably try and kill another 2. You can see his herald with the banner has slowly turned up. So he's now got a banner on this flank to help Dane, which is good for him. Not so good for me. But other than that, the advantages of my court here, Lendl's doing his job nicely. If he can keep killing, you know, 2 to 4 dwarves a turn, that would be great. My Númenóreans are getting through the higher armour. Though he has got some Gil-gillad in here mixed up with defense 7, certainly wounding those guys on 6s. Down here on the other hand, I actually lost 2 elves to throwing axes before they managed to pick in the fights that they wanted, and then countered with whatever I can. As you see, I've now thrown my archers in. They're not going to do much good back there, so I'm just using them to surround and take down the last of the dwarves here. And I think this game ends on a 1 or at 25% actually. I think it's a set one for this one. So I've got to get my guys in position to take the objectives off him. Over here, the kills keep going up. As you can see, my Numenorians have killed one guy and lost one, but then Elendil has come through and managed to kill 4 this round. If he keeps this up, this flank will very quickly be overrun, and hopefully I can get rid of Dane as well. Over here, the combats didn't really go hugely well. Somehow Gil-gillad actually managed to lose the combat, but he wasn't hurt, and my archers there managed to kill off their opponents they were facing. And now I just have to move in to surround these guys, pin them in place, and try and get Gil-gillad into the fights that I want him to fight. So as the fighting continues, you're going to see it's more of a mop-up now. On the top left-hand side, I've actually managed to move an elf over to the war machine. The enemy is broken now, so there are encouraged chests to stay. I'm also confident in my ability to mop up what's left here, and you can see there I've got sending an archer around the top of the hill there, just to help on the other side to get rid of Dane and mop up the last of the Khazad guard. My guys that are in the trees and on the in the rock, still standing still, holding it. It's a bit stupid of me. This guy in the tree down here is actually a spearman who'd been more used to me in the combats. I should have just left a normal elf there, but there you go. And that's how it's looking. And this ends up being the final shot of the game. On the top side, top left hand side there, I don't actually manage to hold that objective. Unfortunately, his crew comes down and kills off my my elf that I sent over there. I was risking only sending one over, but I just wanted to make sure I won all the fights. So they actually got that objective there. The one in the tree is mine. The one in the cliff down the bottom, you can just see the bottom right hand side, is mine. And then I believe I kill off the Khazad guard that's guarding the one at the top. And in the combats down below, I think there's only Dane left. I've still got Elendil mounted, but with that the game ends. And yeah, that was quite quick and quite brutal. Elendil did exactly what I wanted Elendil to do. Oh, then you can see down bottom left hand side the scenario we're doing with domination. Yeah, Elendil did exactly what I wanted him to do. He very quickly mopped up. In 2 rounds he killed 4 dwarves a turn. So that, you know, eight dwarves over a couple of turns is a big drop in my opponent's small army. That left my Numenorians to fight fights. They outnumber the opponent and have more chance of winning and killing. Really won well over there. While on the other side, Gil-gillad did what he did and killed off the King's Champion and the Herald. So I actually ended up, I think, still having all his might left by the end of it on this one, able to go around to help. But with that, the game was ended, and that was a victory to me. And I think the victory points were, I broke my opponent, and I had, what, 4... 1, 2, 3, yeah, I've got 4 of the 5, which I think is 2 points apiece. So that gives me 8 points, and I was broken or not broken. I think I ended up with that 10 points for this one. So it was another good win against the Dwarves. As I say, I've been lucky enough to play these before and knew roughly what my troops could do against it. Elendil is a can opener when it comes to those Vault Warden teams. The only big thing I was fearing actually was the Blister, which he had placed so far out. It never really fired. It just, I think, fired twice, missed twice, and then decided to move up to capture the objective. I actually put my Numenorians and Elendil, because I knew he'd be #1 target, the other side of the hill for that particular reason. I think that was the first thing to go down. So yeah, I managed to avoid that one. That could have ended my heroes pretty quick. It's a downside of only having heroes with 1 fate. But other than that, yeah, I can't complain about this game. It went very quickly and very smoothly for the Last Alliance.